Los Angeles, 1947, a city of glitz and glamour. But beneath the bright lights lurked a darkness no one could ignore. A young woman, Elizabeth Short, was found murdered in one of the most shocking and brutal crimes in history. Her body was discovered in an empty lot, cut in half and posed like a twisted piece of art. The press called her the Black Dahlia, and her case remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of all time. Who was Elizabeth Short? Who killed her? And why, after more than 75 years, is the Black Dahlia case still haunting LA? Let's uncover the mystery. In the 1940s, Los Angeles was a place of dreams. Many young women moved there hoping to become movie stars. Elizabeth Short was one of them. But instead of finding fame, she became the victim of a brutal crime that still haunts the city today. Elizabeth was born in Boston, Massachusetts in 1924. She was one of 5 sisters. When she was just 6 years old, her father left the family, which made life very hard for them. As a teenager, Elizabeth moved to California to live with her father, but they didn't get along. This prompted her to move from place to place, trying to find a better life. In 1943, she was arrested in Santa Barbara for underage drinking. After that, she returned to Massachusetts, but soon California pulled her back in. On January 9, 1947, Elizabeth Short came back to her home in Los Angeles. She had just taken a short trip to San Diego with her boyfriend, Robert Red Manley, a 25-year-old married salesman. He said he dropped her off at the Biltmore Hotel and that she was going to meet her sister, who was visiting from Boston later that day. On the morning of January 15, 1947, Elizabeth Short's naked body was found in an empty lot in the Leimert Park area of Los Angeles. Her body had been cut in 2 and she had no clothes on. Elizabeth Short's body was found brutally mutilated. She had been cut in half at the waist, and her body was completely drained of blood, leaving her skin pale. Doctors believed she died around 10 hours before her body was discovered, likely between the evening of January 14th and early morning of January 15th. It appeared that the killer had washed her body. Short's face was disfigured with deep slashes, and she had multiple cuts on her thighs and breasts. Her body was arranged in a deliberate pose, with her hands above her head and legs spread apart. The way she was left in the empty lot made it clear. The killer wanted to send a message. Elizabeth Short's body was identified by matching her fingerprints with ones on file at the FBI. The fingerprints had been recorded in 1943 when she was arrested. The press gave her the nickname Black Dahlia, inspired by her love for black clothing and a popular movie at the time called The Blue Dahlia. The media spread wild rumors, making the case even more mysterious. More than 150 people confessed to the murder, but none of them could be proven guilty. The case was full of dead ends. Years later, one suspect stood out: Dr. George Hodel, a wealthy and powerful man. His own son, Steve Hodel, became a detective and started investigating his father. He believed his father was the Black Dahlia killer. This investigation started after George's death. Previously, George had been suspected of killing his secretary, Ruth Spaulding, and was acquitted of raping his daughter, Tamar. George had also fled the country multiple times and lived in the Philippines from 1950 to 1990. Steve found clues that seemed to connect his father to the murder, like handwriting samples and the fact that he was a skilled surgeon. In 2003, old records revealed that investigators had wiretapped George's house and recorded him talking to an unidentified person saying, "Supposing I did kill the Black Dahlia. They can't prove it now. They can't talk to my secretary anymore because she's dead. They thought there was something fishy. Anyway, now they may have figured it out. Maybe I did kill my secretary." In 1991, Janice Knowlton, who was 10 at the time of Short's murder, claimed she saw her father, George Knowlton, murder Elizabeth Short in their garage in 1947 by beating her with a claw hammer. She later wrote a book about the experience and also added that she was sexually abused by her father, but her stepsister and investigators disputed her account, stating it didn't match the facts and was unreliable. In 2017, Pugh Eatwell wrote a book, Black Dahlia, Red Rose, which suggests a new theory about Elizabeth Short's murder. Eatwell believes Short was killed because she knew about a hotel robbery scheme involving Leslie Dillon, a former mortician's assistant, and his associates Mark Hansen and Jeff Connors. The book also implicates Sergeant Finis Brown, a lead detective with alleged ties to Hansen. Eatwell proposes that Short was murdered at the Astor Motel, citing a report of a bloody and filthy room found there on the morning Short's body was discovered. However, this theory conflicts with the LAPD's 1949 statement, denying any connection between the Astor Motel and the case. Over 75 years later, the Black Dahlia case is still unsolved. Theories continue to spread, and people still search for the truth. Elizabeth Short was only 22 years old when her life was taken. Her story has been told and retold, but one question remains: who killed the Black Dahlia? Thank you for watching. If you like this video, be sure to check out our next video and don't forget to like, subscribe, and let us know your theories in the comments.